Spoke tightening, who knew that was a thing? If you've wrecked your rim of your Brompton or Brompton or any other bike, not necessarily folding, and this is what you'll have to do. As your cheapest option, smallest replacement part purchasable. A Brompton folding bike, it's more British than a Dyson. The original and still the biggest tyres of the folding bike that you can get at any price. You could buy the whole rear wheel, but that's £200 and you've still got a fair amount of the same performance that you've got to go to getting out and getting in. I broke a few spokes, bought some more, but loads more than I needed. Put them in, was quite impressed I was able to do this while dinner was cooking, with a bit of bending that might not be entirely approved of. I didn't need enough to take the tyre off, so I was feeling confident. I had been riding the bike without a few spokes. That might have been a reason for cracking the rim, but riding it was fine for a little while after replacing the spokes. The wheel had no great wobble in it, but it developed one. It's difficult to see if you've wrecked your rim. The first signs you might get are the brakes rubbing in a slightly strange way. I looked and I thought the whole of the Sturmey Archer Gearhub in the centre of the wheel was splitting apart along its axis. So I was tempted to try and buy some cogs, but the derailleur system's different for the cogs. As to, of course, is the gear change mechanism. Eventually I found a crack, just a hairline crack in the rim. Nothing dramatic looking, nothing more than the join of the U-shaped linear material where it's bent round into a circle in the first place. That join, very similar. Well, I should say that the front and the rear rim, they are different. The rear one's stronger. I didn't discover the other crack until taking it apart. Nice. Big wheels mean safety. Can you tell that to a blade scooter generation? Beg your pardon. Will that be heard? £60 each. Some time ago I bought some Tannis solid tyres. They were an easy self-installation. Taking them out and putting them back in again, even easier still. My vanity dictated that the red coordinated with the red logo on black Brompton frame. No, you thought they were pink. These solid tyres have made this process much easier, I think. Spokes hook into the centre of the hub in quite a complicated in-out, over-under fashion. Then there's a nipple that pokes through the rim from the tyre side. It's got a thread inside it, and the spoke thread goes inside the other thread and you tighten out. The size of the spokes, the length of them, the length of the thread is only so long, so you have to get the right size spokes. They will poke out the other end of the nipple and be a sharp thing into where the inner tube goes. All these spokes, once I've tightened them up on the wheel to stop the warp and weft of it rubbing on the brakes and trying to get the ping, tensioning the spokes, all of them would be penetrating, piercing all the way through the nipple if I hadn't already put the tyre on before putting it back on the bike and just wanting to get on. I'd have been grinding them off. In that channel where the inner tube goes, that rubber... That rubber... Oh, I've left that packaging on, and I don't know why. I just thought it was a bit like having the rubber, but it's been so annoying. The rubber ring that goes round between the nipple and the inner tube. That wouldn't save it. You'd get a puncture as soon as you used it. And go all the way round. Some hints and tips. Use pliers. Don't worry about a bit of scratching on the rim or the nipple. Don't do it on the living room floor or the kitchen dining table. Take a few photos because it'll help you put it back together again, especially the meshing of the and especially the meshing of the spokes. It might seem like they don't, but they do all do up in the same clockwise direction from both sides of the wheel hub when you're sat on just the one side. It takes a bit of time, you don't want to stoop. Don't be discouraged if the easy part of taking it apart isn't instant, it's just an inertia that you've got in your head. And the disassemble does inform the assembling. Someone will probably tell you, you've got a choice of how you weave your spokes. Yes, you can mess it. Start on one side, there's like an under, over thing going on, and they go clockwise and anti-clockwise, obviously. Count the holes and feel the holes with your finger, you don't really have to look. 6, and then 4, and then 2, I think, come to mind. Oh, when you're taking the spokes off, take the little nipple out and put it on the end of the spoke, that'll make it hugely easier. When you've got them all in on one side, and all the inwards and outwards on the spoke go in the right direction, where there was those few that fell out, put more in on the pattern before you take too many out if you make a mistake. It's an attractive dishing shape when you've got all the spokes in on the same side. You'll notice on the hub that if you look across to the other side of the hub, there's one between an innie and an outie. They're staggered slightly on the other side, but by now you'll be able to figure out which direction the innie and the outies go, clockwise or anti-clockwise on the other side of the hub. If you decide to test drive the bike before tightening up straight and true and getting the ping 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 on all the spokes, it'll feel a little bit wobbling around, your backside wobbling around like it did before it broke. Don't be satisfied with that, be doing it again. You have already learnt, haven't you, that you tighten each thing up a little bit in turn. Not one all the way up tight and then the other one doesn't reach. There is a very important fine-tuning stage at the end. You can have the wheel spinning, freewheeling happily. Turn a few spokes and add a kink in it. Pick a spot, a brace, somewhere on the rim where it wobbles closest. Then put your finger on the rim or hold that spoke or mark it and slowly spin it round until the wobble starts to go the other direction. Between there and there is where you need to tighten up the spokes on the other side of the hub so that it pulls it away. You're still trying to get that ping. Still trying to get that ping ping ping, or money 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 as they might say in Swedish, or Danish.
So look out for those beauties, oh yeah. On your marks, get set, go!
Or Danish. Is it Norwegian? Fine-tune that as many times as you need, and you can enjoy listening to that. Tick, 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 tick. Sturmey Archer engineering from Second World War era. You've just got your gear lever cable and lever to sort out. Those 3 gears. More trouble than 20. And you're alive, cycling those plain, tree-lined highways and byways of France, or wherever you live. Perhaps it's voilà, continuez dans le facon of the London commute.